Hello, my friends. I'm glad you are here. Let the day grow a little quieter now. Let your body rest where it is. We will take a slow walk through a calm human story. Not a loud one, not a hard one, just a quiet story. And we will begin. Many people know this name already, the Bermuda Triangle. They think of missing ships, missing planes, and open water. But there is a quieter question here. Why did this part of the sea matter to human life for so long? Long ago, water was not empty space between places. It was a path. It was work. It was risk. It was one of the ways people moved food, tools, news, and people from one shore to another. So this story is not only about mystery, it is also about ordinary human life near the sea and how water slowly shaped travel, trade, labor, and power. The sea near Bermuda stood close to busy crossing routes in the Atlantic. That matters. It means this was not just a faraway patch of water. It was close to places where ships passed, stopped, turned, and carried things onward. Long before large ships crossed open oceans, people lived close to coasts, rivers, and islands. They watched the sky. They watched the water. They learned that a calm morning could turn rough by afternoon. They learned that wind could help them or hurt them. They learned that a boat could feed a family, but it could also be lost. In those early communities, life by the shore was simple but never easy. People rose early. They checked nets. They repaired rope. They dried fish in the sun. They gathered shellfish from rocks and shallow water. They carried wood for small boats. They watched children near the shore. Before going out, they looked at the sky and listened to the wind. A family could eat because the water stayed calm. A family could worry because clouds began to gather. This is where the story begins, not with a legend, but with ordinary people living near water. At first, most travel stayed close to land. People followed the coast because they could still see shore. They knew where to stop. They knew where fresh water could be found. They knew where rocks were dangerous. They knew where a small boat could be pulled onto sand. The sea gave them a way forward, but they moved carefully. Over time, people living on coasts and islands learned more. They learned the pull of currents. They learned the season of storms. They learned that some waters looked kind and still held danger. This knowledge came slowly. Parents taught children. Elders remembered bad weather and missing boats. Stories were passed on because memory helped people stay alive. That matters for the waters near Bermuda, too. Long before the region became famous, people in the wider Atlantic world already understood a simple truth. Water can divide one place from another, but it can also join them. It can carry food, wood, fish, tools, and news. It can bring strangers. It can also bring trouble. Then these waters became important to larger sea traffic. Ships began to pass more often. Traders came, soldiers came, officials came. People from faraway places looked at islands and harbors and saw money and control. They wanted places where ships could stop, take on supplies, repair damage, and move again. That is one reason the sea near Bermuda mattered. It was close to active routes between islands, coasts, and larger lands. Its importance did not come from magic. It came from movement. It came from trade. It came from the human need to cross water again and again. A ship passing near that region often carried more than cargo.
It carried letters, prices, orders, tools, cloth, grain, barrels, and metal. It carried men working for merchants. It carried men working for rulers. It carried people hoping for a different life. It also carried people who had no control over where they were being taken. Slowly, regular crossings changed life on land. A small shore village could become a port. Then docks were built. Storage buildings were built. Roads were cut inland. Workers arrived. Traders arrived. Soldiers arrived. Officials arrived. Land near the coast became more important. Fields were used for crops meant for sale. Forests were cut for ships, fuel, and building. Taxes followed. Rules followed. And outside power grew stronger. This is one way the sea near Bermuda mattered, even to people who never sailed through it. The route changed work on land. A farmer planted for sale because ships would carry the crop away. A carpenter made barrels for goods going overseas. A dock worker lifted heavy cargo because a vessel had come in. A woman in a port town waited for news because someone she loved was still at sea.
This is how a sea route reaches into daily life. It can make a town busier. It can make rulers stronger. It can make merchants richer. It can also make ordinary people depend on faraway markets and faraway decisions. The waters near Bermuda were part of that larger change. They were not the whole Atlantic world, but they sat inside it. Ships passed through the region because it lay near useful crossings. So the name we hear today was once part of everyday movement, not only mystery. Sea travel also changed the scale of trade. Heavy goods moved more easily by ship than by land. Food, wood, metal, cloth, tools, and building supplies could go farther. Port towns grew. Warehouses filled. More labor was needed. And once routes became valuable, people fought over them. So the sea became tied to power. Who would guard the harbor? Who would tax the cargo? Who would control the route? Who would profit from the crossing? These were not small questions. They shaped work, wealth, and rule in many places around the Atlantic. The hard chapter belongs here too. Sea trade brought wealth to some people. It also brought suffering to many others. Land was taken. Local life was pushed aside. Work was organized for distant markets. And in the Atlantic world, human beings were also forced across the sea. They were treated as cargo. They were taken from home. They were separated from family. They were moved for the wealth of others. The same sea roads that carried sugar, timber, and goods also carried pain. The same ports that grew rich from trade also received grief. The same ships that helped one person rise could destroy another person's life. We do not need heavy words to see this clearly. The facts are enough. Some people worked fields for crops they did not eat. Some carried cargo they would never own. Some lived in ports full of noise, orders, and unequal wealth. Some watched others grow rich while they remained tired and poor. The waters near Bermuda were part of this larger world of trade and force. Goods moved through the region, ships crossed nearby, and the work, control, and suffering connected to those routes shaped life far beyond the shoreline. Then the modern world changed the sea again. It did not happen all at once, but it happened steadily. Ships became larger and stronger. Sail gave way to engines. Wood gave way to iron and steel. Better maps were made. Better tools guided ships. Ports grew more organized. Records improved.
Insurance improved. Routes became more fixed. Companies wanted regular schedules. Governments wanted closer control over trade and traffic. Daily life changed too. More goods arrived on time. More messages arrived on time. Crossings that once felt rare became more common. Ports worked by timetables. Cargo was counted more carefully. Travel became less unusual for some people. That changed how towns, ports, and businesses lived from day to day. But the sea did not become gentle. Storms did not stop. Strong currents did not stop. Human mistakes did not stop. Distance did not stop. People simply learned to move through danger with more order than before. That change matters when we think about the Bermuda Triangle. The region stayed near active routes. Ships still passed through. Later, aircraft crossed the same general part of the world because speed and distance mattered more than ever. So when something was lost there, people noticed. Loss at sea was old, but regular traffic made each loss stand out in a new way. A family still waited for news. A company still waited for cargo. A port still waited for arrival. The sea could still break those expectations. That is one reason the Bermuda Triangle grew so large in public memory. Newspapers spoke about it. Radio spoke about it. Later, books and television spoke about it. The name became famous because it gathered older fears into one place. But underneath that famous name was the same old human story. Crossing water, carrying goods, finding work, taking risks, and sometimes losing more than people expected. For most of human life, what mattered in these waters was not mystery first. It was movement. It was labor. It was trade. It was weather. It was waiting. It was the long effort to stay connected across distance. That truth is easy to miss now. A person can look at a shop shelf and not think about the sea. A person can buy food, tools, or fuel and never picture the ship, the cargo hold, the port, or the workers who made the journey possible. Modern life can look smooth on the surface, but underneath it, very old patterns still remain. Someone still loads the cargo. Someone still studies the weather. Someone repairs the vessel. Someone waits at home. Water is still useful. Water is still dangerous. That is why the Bermuda Triangle still holds people's attention. Not only because of unusual stories, but because it sits inside something much older than the stories. Human beings have always crossed dangerous water to eat, trade, work, build, rule, or survive. The region near Bermuda became part of that long effort because it lay near routes that mattered. Next time you see this name on a map, you may feel it differently. Not only as a place of lost ships, but as a place touched by fishermen, sailors, workers, merchants, families, and forced travelers. A place touched by small boats near shore. A place touched by cargo and control. A place touched by storms and waiting. A place touched by the long work of connecting one shore to another. When you see it today, you can remember early people standing near water at dawn. You can remember hands repairing nets. You can remember a boat pulled onto sand. You can remember a mother watching the horizon. You can remember crowded docks. You can remember barrels, rope, wood, ledgers, shouted orders, and tired bodies. Large history is often built from ordinary labor. And this is the quieter truth beneath the famous name. The Bermuda Triangle was not only a place of mystery. It was also part of human history. Part of the long effort to cross water, carry goods, find work, build towns, and stay connected across distance. The sea helped feed people. It helped ports grow. It helped power spread. It also carried danger, loss, and unequal labor. Today, the world moves quickly. Ships cross oceans. Planes cross skies. Goods arrive with little thought from the people who use them. This can make the world feel easy, but it was not easy for most of history. For a very long time, every crossing asked simple questions. Will the weather change? Will the boat return? Will the cargo arrive? Will the family hear news? Will the sea allow safe passage? Those questions belonged to small fishing boats, they belonged to trade ships, they belonged to people with power, they belonged to people with none. And in that way, the Bermuda Triangle is not outside human history, it is inside it. So tonight, let it become simple again. Not only a mystery, not only a famous name, but part of human history. Part of the long effort to cross water, carry goods, find work, build towns, and stay connected across distance. And for this story, that truth is enough.
If you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.